Young, what would I say to my younger self? Baby, we don't need nobody else. Yeah, we all we need, and God as a back, baby, yes, indeed. Young, what would I say to my younger self? Oh, baby, we don't need nobody else. Cause we all we need, and angels got a back, baby, yes, indeed.
It was good, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of the I Am Music podcast. I wanted to share this story. I know all the first podcast episodes have been like about my music stories, but you know what? The funny thing about this one is, I actually made this video probably, damn, I don't know how, maybe close to like at least over 15 years ago or 15 years ago. I made this actual story. I wanted to talk about the story that I'm about to share right now because this song actually I feel like it saved my life, right? Um, because who knows what would have happened if it wasn't for this song, right? So that's why I made this video before because it felt very like divine intervention. Divine intervention doesn't always have to be like a certain way. It could be like another way, right? So this song that I'm talking about is called My, right? And I actually had a remix to it that I promoted more because the original one, I felt like, damn, I cussed too much because I was just venting or like frustrations, right? Trying to make it in the music. And that's what this song was about, right? I was really frustrated. Back then, it really felt like that was it, right? Like, I ain't gonna be no doctor. I ain't gonna be no lawyer. I had already been working like, dusty warehouses, hard labor kind of stuff, right? Like back breaking work. And I needed to make it with this music, man, because I was starting to like, when I was young, I had already hustled and everything, and it was like I was trying to do everything right. I was like, I was trying to do things right, and so I was trying to do it with the music. And at the time, like back then, yeah, to record in studios, everything costs money, right? There weren't the whole like computer things where that's it. Like nowadays, anybody that doesn't realize how easy you got it now, like man, you have a whole studio on your computer. You can network with people around the world on your computer. You don't need to be signed, nothing. So back then, you really felt like you needed to be signed. So to I guess cut right into the story about this Mama My song was, um I don't know if I had already made the beat. I had made this beat, but probably not, because after the melody kind of sounded like it was saying the my, right? But it was originally like this hard type beat. It almost sounded like almost like some Kanye type stuff, right? I don't know if Kanye West was out yet, but that's kind of what it reminded me of, right? I had the drums, like I didn't really know how to make beats. I mean, I did, but it was like I layered like so many drums on top of each other, right? Just to make that sound, like, because I didn't know how to, so I would add a layer, another layer. And I used like, I had this keyboard that used to have these expansions, right? Um, and like, but just, yeah, so I was just like layering things, from the Latin expansion, the country expansion, boom. So the hip hop expansion. So it was like, I really like the beat, I'll put a link to it after. But so, anyways, this My song, right? So I had been working with this producer, he lived like over an hour away. And then with LA traffic, it was like I would drive out there and, supposedly this dude had like, he had the hookups and this and that, right? But I would go over there and then he'd like BS, right? It'd be like, oh, it's other stuff. And I was like, dude, I'm driving all the way over here to work on music. And, I was able to switch it on and off, right? Like I was able, because I had already been working jobs, right? That's one thing I got like from my parents, right? Even though I was raised here and around gangs and this and that, my parents were from Mexico. So it was like, they didn't come with none, right? Like they worked all the time. So they didn't really see like what was going on in the streets, right? Like that kind of just, that's what happened, right? That's kind of what ended up raising me more than, because they were just working, right? So I had that like responsibility, right? They were responsible people. So I didn't have like parents that that were I was learning from them the bad stuff, right? I was learning from the environment, but from them, like they were solid, right? So, there was always that, right? I knew how to be around people. I mean, even once, right? I remember getting arrested and the cop like felt bad. Because I was just it was my fault. So I was like, I was respectful because it was my fault. Like, what do you want me to do? He's, oh, like you could tell, and he was like, oh, you could tell your parents really raised you right. And I was like, what the hell? Like this dude's all feeling bad about arresting me. So, but it was my fault, whatever. So it was all good. Like if someone's cool with me, I'm cool with them. I would just get mad like when the cops harassed me for no reason. Yeah, we got into it, and there were times you could tell they wanted to shoot me, but I didn't back down because I was in the right. Like I wouldn't crumble when I was in the right. So, anyways, like I said, right, my parents. So I was able to turn it on and off, right, like the street stuff, right. I didn't have to all the time be like huffing and puffing, right. I didn't have to be mad dogging everybody or nothing like that, right. Like until someone like took my kindness for weakness or stuff like that, then it would come out, right. So, anyways, there was this producer I was working with, and it was like this dude was wasting my time. Like I had gone all the way over there once, and like some homeboy sister was with me, right? She was a friend too, right? But she went with me, and she was attractive, so he fell all in love with her. Oh, he wanted me to when I would go take over girls or this and that. If I was smart now in hindsight, yeah, I should have just played the game and been like, hey, check it out. Got these females, make me a damn beat, like let's record some stuff, right? But I was just to me it pissed me off because I was like, I got all this talent. Like I don't need to be over here. Like get your own females, right? Like what the hell? I'm driving over here to work on this music. And even that, he was like this hardcore Christian guy, and he was even like, check it out, man. I got the Bible on CDs. I'm gonna make a copy for you or whatever. But then another time I go to work on music and he's like playing like, oh, check it out. A friend shot like this orgy and I forgot where. And like, I'm like, dude, I don't give a like, I don't care about this, like, you know what I mean? Like, so one day you're a Christian, the next day you're trying to show me like this, I don't know if it was a VHS still, right? Of this orgy that your friend filmed. What do I care about this? Like, I came to work on music, right? And even that we record, oh, I'm gonna submit it to that. He had, connections with different whatever vice president from this company or whatever. And it was like we wouldn't even record it that good, right? Like it'd be like a rough take. Oh, let's redo it. Nah, it's okay, it's okay. Like if they like it, then they could give us the money and then we'll record it for real. Like boom, boom, boom. So I was just like, finally, like, yeah, I got tired of it. And I don't know. I just got in my head and I was like, I grabbed the strap and I was like, I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna have a talk with this dude, like whatever I was gonna do, I was just like, I saw nothing but red, I was like, all right, dude, like you wanna waste my time, I'm gonna show you like this ain't no game. Don't be playing with like, if you didn't wanna work with me, cool, but don't be wasting my time, you know what I mean? So yeah, I felt like there was nothing, and that's the thing, right? Like I was like, all right, cool. So, you know, calmly, whatever, got my thing. I was driving over there to whatever. I don't know if I was gonna scare him or I was really gonna do some, you know what I mean? But I was gonna do something, right? So I was really, really upset, right? And so as I'm driving over there, I just start singing this song, like I'm, like I have that. Like I used to love when I would hear like, oh, Tupac, he'd go to the bathroom, come out with a song or stuff like that. Like that's me, right? I come up with songs like out of, like nothing, right? I could go boom and so I'm that like, I don't think I've ever really seen anybody else. Not that they're not out there, right? But like that when I would hear Tupac, like the way he would write songs, that's really the only person I've been able to see that or hear the stories that wrote songs like as fast as like they come out for me, right? So, anyways, as I'm driving, I just start singing this song in my head, right? I'm just like, I'm like, see, they want me to change, mainly rap for these bitches, get rich. It's like, ma. Sell my soul for that fame, hop on wagons and trains and watch cash come in. Ma. No, I don't want to, but damn, it sucks being so broke. I'm like, ma. Damn, I got shit to say, but these busters don't listen. Got me pissed and saying, ma. And the beat was very like after, I don't know if I'm almost sure I made the beat after, right? But I was just like, damn, I gotta write this down. And so I'm on my way, and I think I'm just like, shoot, I pulled over somewhere, try to write it down, and then I was like, man, I just wanted to get home, work on it, like, you know what I mean, try to make a beat for it with my keyboard, and I love music that much that I went home, and like this dude, you know, he didn't know, but after, I even left him a message. I was like, you know what? I pray to God that I never run into you again. And then he was like, he even like left me a message like, oh my God, oh my God. You threaten me and my wife and kids. And I'm like, what, your wife and kids, man? I've known this dude for like, I don't know how long, maybe even close to a year. Never once mentioned the wife and kids, nothing. I don't know, like where they were, because I never seen them, not going to this dude's place or nothing, right? Like I didn't even know they existed. And this fool's over here telling me to take them women and this and that. And now all of a sudden, where you think your life is in danger, which I didn't really, I didn't threaten. I just said, I pray to God that I never run into you again. However he took it was on him, But it was funny that he calls me back and leaves me a message like, oh, you threatened my life and my wife, and I have my wife and my kids and this and that. I was like, what? Like, you never even mentioned them, you freaking scumbag. You know what I mean? So, and with that energy after too, right? Like, that's the energy that I left to the Marines without, right? I was like, dude, if I stay over here, okay, let me talk about that then, man. Since there was just this, I know I saw the thing about, even that school shooting and all that. And it breaks my heart because that didn't exist when I was growing up, right? Like even that, it made me realize like just being a man, like I know back then it was different, whatever we felt like. Cause even that, right? Like that, like how I said, when you're growing up like with the street stuff, it's like, what am I gonna brag about? I can't brag about being a doctor. I can't brag about being a lawyer. My parents aren't even instilling that in me. Oh, son, you could go be a doctor. You could go be a lawyer, right? So that's all you have, right? Like I'll kick your bloop, like that's it, right? And not that you're just like trying to be a bully. Some are, right? Some people grow up in this and then they become bullies. But to me, I was more like a just like I couldn't stand being like disrespected, right? And I was pretty humble until someone disrespected me. And then, like that, So that I felt disrespected. I felt like, dude, I don't got nothing. I don't got nothing. And you're over here like waving kind of a carrot, like, well, I got, I could hook you up, but and then I gotta be going along with your BS, right? Like, I'm just trying to work on music. That's all you had to do. Like, I don't care, I mean, and then to find out later, like, oh, you had a wife and kids all along. So, you could get your piece of action from your wife. Like, you're over here asking me to take you women. Like, what's that about, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like something. I don't know if you're fighting with your wife, then you better make up with her or something. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. So, anyways, but in hindsight, yeah, I should have just done it and whatever, got hooked up and probably got a record deal or something, right? But I was just that prideful that I was pissed off, right? So that's the thing, is that's all you really got, like with the street stuff. Like people that don't understand it, they don't get it. Like as a man, and especially back then, it was very emphasized, right? To grow up as a man, and I'm not saying that as in throwing shade to anybody, but in those times, that's how it was, right? Like, so we're finding our way to be proud, right? And if we can't be proud of like that, right? We can't be proud of this or that, then we're gonna find something to be proud of. Either that or you crumble, right? It's like you're either gonna find something to stand the boss. That's why people join gangs. They want to be like, damn, I'm a part of this now. That's why it's so easy for anybody that joins the gang, like, hey, go put in work, and then someone goes and does it just to feel like to get respect, right? To get respect, to get this, whatever. So it's that simple. The psychology is so damn simple. That's why even when I see these kids, I feel bad for them. Like I said, with the shootings and all, because I understand all of it, right? Like I get that people get pushed to a certain point, right? The only thing is back then, if we had a problem with someone, it was like with someone. We back then we didn't think like, oh, I'm gonna go, shoot a whole school because so and so did. Like, what was the dumb one I heard that like this guy that the girls didn't want to go out with him, so girls didn't want to go out with him, so he went and shot. I don't know if it was a school or something. Like I was like, dude, like whoever failed to teach this person correctly, right? Either whatever, work out or get rich. You know what I mean? You're already on your way. Like you're going to this whatever college or whatever. Like when you get that money, if no one taught you, like, hey, like no disrespect intended, but yeah, women will come to you just for money, right? Like so you're not gonna have a shortage of women, right? And if women try to say like, well, I'm not like that, cool, but there are tons of women that are, right? Guaranteed. 1,000,000%, right? So you're not gonna be alone later, right? But no one taught this person that, right? So unfortunately, that kind of stuff, right? So back then, at least we had that. Like if we did have a problem with somebody, then we would address it with that person, right? And unfortunately, see, like me, right? I was about to do something, right? And I think something divinely threw that song in my head, right? Because it was like that song was so I love that was like one of my favorite songs at that time. It was just so like it hit my soul because it expressed everything I was feeling. And even in the verse, like after, right? I didn't record to my beat because I felt like I just wasn't as secure with my beat, even though I ended up loving that beat after. I even put it on an instrumental album, just the instrumental, because I always liked that beat, right? I dug it out of I found my keyboard, plugged it in, boom, boom. I just wanted to listen to that beat, right? And so let me see. Okay, so whatever. I wrote that song, and then after, oh yeah, so I ended up leaving to the Marines after because I was like, dude, with that energy, like if I hurt this dude, because even though that day I turned back, like after, like I still didn't like the guy. I still had stuff inside that was like not unhappy, not happy. So, anyways, I was like, let me just go. Let me just drop this music because I keep running. I think at that point I had already ran into a few like I'm not gonna be jumping through hoops, right? I'm not gonna be kissing nobody's ass to get a record deal. I'm not gonna nothing. I'm not gonna play the politics, right? Like it's sad because I know even once someone was like, "Oh, I know someone at the radio station. Let's see, rap." And I was like, "Dude, I ain't your freaking monkey. You're not gonna throw peanuts at me and ask me to rap." And it was like, and I was like, "Dude, I was like always so like I would get mad, but I didn't realize those are the things that people do, right? Like I guess I knew I was good, but it was like I was just like, damn, But it even reminded after like I felt vindicated because even Snoop Dogg had this line where he goes, "Can I hear you flow? Can I, can I f your hoe?" Like he was like he said it like if he was irritated with it, like even him, he was irritated because yeah, when people would hear, oh, this is my homeboy, he raps, or this is my friend, he raps, and oh, let's see, bust the flow, and it was like at that point I was just irritated, even though this person probably had a connection, right? Like, oh, I know someone at the radio. So what? Oh, let's see, bust the flow. I think I was drinking too, though, so I was just irritated. I was like, I ain't gonna. What do I look like? A freaking monkey? You're gonna throw peanuts at me and be like, oh, you're dance or sing, sing, dance, whatever. So I had this like I was irritated at that point. I just didn't like. Why can't someone just hear your talent, give you a damn like, okay, hey, yo, you got it, boom. That's it, right? People wanted you to jump through hoops, and I just wasn't. So I was like, you know what? I'd rather just go to the military than be over here trying to kiss people's ass, right? So, anyways, I went, and when I came back, that's when I started working with David Salas, and then I ended up doing the Mama Ma, but he made like a reggae type beat to it, right? But I kept like the same lyrics, except I think I changed the last verse, the last verse to it, right? But I guess it was kind of like, at that time, like Eminem had already blown up. right? He had blown up, so he kind of showed us that it didn't all have to be gangster, right? He was still offensive in his way, and it felt very therapeutic, right? So I was like, oh, so Eminem kind of helped, like, he was creative, right? So obviously all these people were influences, right? So as Eminem came out, and so I think on My Mama I try to be offensive on purpose. And I think, I even triggered someone. That's when I think MySpace had already came out, and then someone wrote me a big old thing. Oh, how disgusting this and that. Cause I said some things, and I asked them, well, what did I say? Like I wanted them to tell me what was the exact thing that triggered them from this. Cause I was like, damn, the beat so, and then that song had a chance to be on a TV show, and then I knew it wasn't gonna someone like really liked the beat, but I knew I just cussed way too much. I mean, but they could have used the instrumental, so I don't know, on the internet. So then I was like, oh man, like I regretted, like, oh man, I should have taken out some of the bad words or something, right? But that was just like oh, and then when I remade it right with the reggae-ish beat like that David Salas did, then I got a live sax player. I think that was the most I spent on a beat, because I paid the sax player. I paid. Did we have a live drummer? I forgot if we had a live drummer. Was that the one? I don't know, but like I didn't really care about spending money, like as long as things came out good, right? And then my friend sang on it too, so it just had so many elements, right? Like that song was so live. But then I guess whatever, after I felt like, oh man, I shouldn't have cussed as much once I remade it, because it sounded more commercial. That's the whole point. The beat sounded really commercial after, with the reggae-ish flow, really soulful. But I cussed too much, so I was like, I don't know. I should have made like a clean version. But then I guess David Salas did kind of a remix beat to it, and at the time, like that Sean Kingston guy was pretty popular. I don't know if he was still pop, but he was like he still had a name, Sean Kingston. He did like the reggae singing. So I think David Salas knew one of his people, and then he made a remix beat to the My, the reggae version that he was trying to, like, I guess, they had taken it, but I was like, I kind of got like territorial about it. Well, damn, that's my beat. So I wrote to the new remix, like reggae version, and that's the My that I'm gonna play right here. I know this went super long. I'm like over here telling the story, but just to say, this song saved my life, right? Like it's one of my favorite songs, because I know like what was happening when I was about, when I started singing it, freestyling this song in my head. It's crazy, right? So, anyways, yeah. So then we did I wrote the remix, and it's I don't know. Sometimes I like it, like I think it could have been, it was a different style, right? I hadn't really wrote that style, so I feel like maybe I could have done it a little better. The hook is amazing, right? There's one guy, Rankin Ruff, right? He rapped on the hook, right? I sent it to him already, and I was like, well, yeah, just make sure you keep saying like land on the my. So he wrote some stuff, in the reggae. I still don't know what everything he said, but he did that, and then it said my. So everything, and then I love it. You still had the sax in there and everything. It just had a little more, like, even more commercialized beat, right? That was the remix to it. So I'm gonna play it right here. And even the music video, you see, at that time, right, I had already connected with a lot of people thanks to the internet. So I asked all these women to send me clips, right, of them singing the My Mama, and they came through, right? One from Jamaica, from Spain, from what was it, Portugal, from Slovenia, I think. Slovenia, Bosnia. Man, I forgot. So many, like, I don't know. I know it was a few countries, right? Canada, different places, and they send me these video clips, and I made this music video. So I made this music video myself, right? And a friend had helped me like film some of the footage of me rapping. But check it out. This is My the remix featuring Daisy and Rankin Ruff.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It recording? Together. Yeah, Rankin Ruff and Architect in the combination. Alongside Sweet Daisy.
Always working, never lazy. This one's dedicated to all the ladies. Ready? Sweet style. Say no.
I've been known for pulling hoes, some sluts I suppose. But this one, hey, I had to do for all you round the globe. Them real fine women in linen and short skirts, they get played to Joe Dirt. Cause well, hey, at least he work. Now there's so many games we play while out here getting paid, just like chasing that tail. Though sometimes it gets away. Blame it on my Kelly ways, cause only in LA can we find the greatest selection from half the world away. See, we got Asians, Persians, or Latina queens, Mexican princesses in Europe, women also freaks, some black and white treats. No telling what you'll meet. We even got a little Tokyo if you like Japanese, so come on.
Without you just to make them on them once. Girl, you really wanna make me say, what's your name? I really want to meet you. Wait a minute, girl, I got to say, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you whine, the way you rock, make me wanna say, we love your smile, not to mention profile, baby girl, just to come my way.
Where's my East Coast ladies, my West Coast ladies? I had to do the remix, cause ladies, you drive me crazy. With all this BS I gotta deal with every day, it's nice to know I got somebody when it's time to play. Now let's go, get away, like suntan and spray. I'll be all over your body like tattoos on my chest, baby. Let's take a cruise, Caribbean's the mood. We could travel to Jamaica or Miami in June. It's a summertime affair, and I wanna see you here in those two-piece and thongs, shaking that derriere. So let them haters stare. Man, I don't really care, see it's a lovely day to die, but we ain't going nowhere. Now come on.
Without you just to make them on them once. Girl, you really wanna make me say, what's your name? I really want to meet you. Wait a minute, girl, I got to say, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you whine, the way you rock, make me wanna say, we love your smile, not to mention profile, baby girl, just to come my way. When I look so good, I make a man say, yeah, you make me wanna say, yeah, you make me wanna say.
Now whether real breast or plastic, sometimes I'm a bastard, but I love my ladies more than Shaggy with bombastic. This classic example, I know we hate the apple, but I forgive you ladies, so let's take a trip to Cancun. The full moon is out, forget what you about. There's a party up in here and I feel the atmosphere, so toast your glass and cheer. This is the good life, I always knew that I'd be here, but I just like to take my time, you know.
Without you just to make them on them once. Girl, you really wanna make me say, what's your name? I really want to meet you. Wait a minute, girl, I got to say, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you whine, the way you rock, make me wanna say, we love your smile, not to mention profile, baby girl, just to come my way.
All around the world I could hear them singing, across the USA I could hear them singing, come around my way, you might hear them singing. All around the globe I could hear them singing. Will you grunt make me wanna sing? I don't even know the words. We love your smile, not to mention profile. East Coast.
My.
Yeah, so that was the remix. You know, I loved the video because you know, I was just creative, right? Like, oh man, like this is gonna be like a world kind of anthem, right? Like I was trying to really oh, and they played it like in a radio station in Japan even, and different stuff like that. So the song was kind of and I know I released the single. It was a single I released in 2010. So that's how old that song is. It's already like 14 years. It sold some. That's when people were still buying like the downloads. So I saw like it had some downloads in Japan and some different places. I forgot where else, in the US, I guess. I don't know if it was some other countries too, but you know, so that song, you know, at least, you know, it had like some kind of international thing, and like I said, they even played it in a radio station in Japan. So it was cool, you know. But I don't know. I mean, it's a good song. It was a different flow, and I felt like 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 it depends. Sometimes I guess it's just the mood. Sometimes I feel like, oh, it's great, and then sometimes, but regardless, I still love the Mama My thing, right? That song took so many, like, starting from it had been, where you hear the beat, and I'll put a link to the original beat where it was kind of more like not depressing, but more like serious, like the music was like that, na 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 na, like the little guitar that I'm playing, ma 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 ma. The, Watch, I'll put the link to that. I'll put the link to the original, the ma 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 we did with like the different lyrics that someone, I guess, was offended by, even that wrote me a whole thing. I figure, I think I know, I was just trying to be offensive, like I said, like it was like I saw, like, with that song, right? It was like like, I think, having listened to Eminem, it was like, wow, this kind of works. So let me try to be offensive then, or something, like, or it doesn't matter, right? Like, now we could say things, but then, so I guess I got to see, like, 14 years ago, like, people, or no, that the original one was probably like from 20 years ago, right? So yeah, the original one was like 20 years ago. I had written the original My My My, and then by the time I released the remix, it was 2010. So wow, like, yeah, like 5 years after I had written it, right? So I probably wrote it around 2004. So 20 years ago, 2004, I had written the original My My My, right? So yeah, I know I went all over the place, but yeah, that's the story of My My My. That song saved my life. The music is, that's how therapeutic it is. So let me just go back to that, about, like, there's always consequences to pay for everything, not to get all preachy, right? But, like, there's consequences to pay, like, for the way kids are being raised now, right? You think, like, like, I get it, there's certain good things, but then there's other things. There's always gonna be like that, right? Like, is it beautiful that that everyone's like, oh, don't bully, don't this, but it's like, it's past a little too extreme, right? It's gone a little too extreme, where parents don't even have the courage to parent their own kids anymore, right? Or not necessarily that, but it's like, even they give into if parents know what's best for their kids, but then they let society kind of say certain things, and then they crumble, and then, like, how is the government now the ones telling you how to raise your kids, or society with their ideas and this and that, right? So at some point you got to instill something, right? And not just let them go in the direction that they're going, right? Because that's what, like I'm saying, when I grew up, so I could tell you that right here. When I grew up, there wasn't the school shootings. The first time, when we finally, it was like the trench coat mafia from, like, the whole, what was it, like, Colorado or something? Hold on real quick. Let me see, just to see. Let me see. Trench coat. That's all I remember. Trench coat. Oh, Columbine, right? Trench coat mafia. Is that what it was? Mafia. 1994. Wow. So that was the first time. So yeah, I was still in oh, no, okay. I wasn't. Okay. So loners school attending Columbine was given a blank, which was a gift from my mom. They wore the long coats, even when whether the trench coat mafia for short. Da-da-da. Two students who dressed like members of the trench coat mafia. Jesus Christ. But okay, so yeah, till 1999. So yeah. Um so I wasn't in high school anymore when these dudes did that stuff, right? So, like I said, when I was growing up, we hadn't heard of it yet, right? So after, right, this stuff started happening, and things were changing, things were starting to change. I guess it was the beginning, I know it wasn't. I mean, it's half and half, right? Because, like I said, I guess maybe my generation was like one of the last ones to really, where we still had that understanding, right? And soon after, like, well, yeah, even after, right? Like, they started saying how less people were willing to fight, and everybody was just about more gunplay and this and that. And So I guess, I could at least have that, yeah. At my time, I guess it was transitioning, right? Like not to say that people weren't shooting. Obviously, people were still shooting and all that stuff, but it was like it was transitioning from the fighting to just like shooting, right? Like people weren't even willing to really fight anymore, right? So, but whatever, all that to say, like obviously, there's always consequences, right? For all the things that you may fix one thing, but then in going a little too far, you leave that exposed, right? Like, okay, you want to pamper and then take away all the stuff that kind of mold you into be a person that can handle these things, and you make someone so soft that their brain, like it's almost like it is an entitlement. The fact that anyone will be like, oh, you know, like I got bullied when I was little, like, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie. And so I just had to get stronger, right? I had to, like I remember the first time, and then I'll end it, right? Like there was this dude, like, man, he was like twice my height in junior high, right? And we're like in the P lockers, and this guy had already been messing with me for a bit, right? I remember this tall dude from like Peru. He was just some tall ass dude. And I told him, hey man, I had this belt with like this big old weed belt buckle, right? Like luckily my parents didn't know what it was, but I bought it from the store, like this big old metal like weed belt buckle, right? Back then when I was like in 7th or 8th grade, I forgot. But this dude was messing with me. I was like, dude, if you mess with me again, I'm gonna freaking whack you with my belt. And he was like, whoa, because this dude looked like a freaking overgrown like giant, right? Like for being in junior high. And so he messed with me, and then I grabbed my belt and I just whacked him. Bam! And then I whacked him again. Bam! Like with everything I had. After that, this dude, like for the rest of like the whole school year or whatever, like if I moved too fast, like in his direction, he would like flinch. He was like, I left him traumatized from those two like hard whips I gave him. Just because like at that point I was already done. I had been getting bullied like through most of my youth. So I was like, at that point, I was just done. So that was it, and I didn't have to keep going being a bully. It was like, I was like, all right, you got to stand up for yourself. You sometimes you got to whack somebody with a belt. I got to be the dad. Like, so your dad didn't whip you. Okay, I'm going to whip you. Like spoil the rod. What is it? Spare the rod, spoil the child. Yeah. So, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Sometimes it was like that. Right. Um, I know that wasn't a whole that had not like the song and stuff. But yeah, let me just this last point because I want to make sure I drive this point. Like I said, like that was bad on me, right? Like that guy didn't owe me nothing, right? The producer didn't owe me nothing. I get it, just that, right? It was the street mentality of like, hey, don't waste my time. Like you're disrespecting me by wasting my time, right? So now I gotta go like do something because you wasted my damn time, right? You treated me less than by doing that. So that's the thing is like, you know, that was what it was about. But me taking ownership of that was me saying, you know what, I'm gonna go to the military, man. Because if I stay here, the energy I waste, imagine if I do something, boom, boom, and then I get arrested and this and that, I'm gonna waste my life for this piece of bloop that wasn't even worth it. Let me be my own man and just whatever, man. It is what it is, right? Like I don't need this person's help, right? I gotta go become my own man. I gotta go a different road. It is what it is, man. It didn't work out for me. It didn't work out for me. That's life, right? So I had to grab my, you know, whatever, grab my nuts and just be like, boom, let me go do this thing. Let me stand on my own, right? So that was me being a man. Not me like having gone to this guy, like letting someone else have that power over you. That wasn't being a man, right? I get it, right? I get it. Like I said, in those times, yeah, it was like everything was about respect. So me feeling disrespected was like, but even that, right? At the end, it was like this dude wasn't even like a street dude, right? So it was like who knows? Maybe there wouldn't have been even I wouldn't have felt good after. Well, maybe I would have felt good about it, but you know what I'm saying? It was just like obviously after I left him a message, and he didn't look like no scrawny dude or nothing. So it wasn't like he was just some like this scrawny dude or something like that, like he didn't look scrawny at all. So it wasn't like I was just trying to bully some some little whatever, puny looking producer or nothing, right? So it wasn't like that, right? But after like when I left him that message and he like damn near was crying on the message he gave back to me, then I saw like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. So that energy, all that energy, that's what took me like to go to the military, and I used that energy for something positive, right? Like I mentioned, I have my whole spiritual channel, so that's the epitome of transmuting energy, they call it, right? For like you use all that energy. It's almost, when someone does you dirty or that negative energy, you take it and you transform it, and boom, you make something, you use it, right? It's almost like that. They're giving you fuel, right? It's like someone just filled up your tank with all that thing they intended for something negative or whatever. You just filled up your tank with it. All right, thanks for giving me that. That's a good way to look at it. All right, thanks for giving me that energy, right? Boom. And like when someone makes you mad and you work out or something, right? Like, man, they just fueled you up for free. So it's like almost like it should be a thank you in a way, right? So I just want to make sure I drive that point across, that it was a good life lesson, right? So I don't think I really ever had that, right, where you let someone have that much control over you of like hey, even if I gotta go look for another, like that happened to me before at work, and I ain't gonna get into all that. Someone try to threaten me with my job, and then I put my head down, but the next day I came in and I yelled at this manager, and they started shaking, like they looked like they were about to have a heart attack, because they made me put my head down. Because, oh, you don't like this job? Then get out of here and this and that. I was like, what the hell? I didn't say I didn't want the. Oh yeah, they were like, oh, you don't want this job? Then go quit right now. Uh, or something like, oh yeah, go home or something. I don't know. They were like, you don't want the job, whatever. And I was like, I didn't even say that. I was like, whatever. So they made me kind of like, because I was complaining about something they had done that was dirty. And so I was like, what the hell, man? Like, this isn't cool, whatever. Oh, well, you don't want the job, whatever. So then I didn't say I didn't want the job, whatever, because I couldn't afford to I had bills, everything. I couldn't afford to get fired. But then it festered in my head the whole night, right? So then the next day when I came back to work, I had to like, I needed to get my pride back or whatever. So I yelled at them, and they started shaking, and but they didn't fire me or nothing, right? Later I got fired for something else, but it wasn't it wasn't for that, right? For yelling at them, stuff like that, So I don't even know how I got into that story, but I'll end it with that. Thank you so much for listening. Yeah, I don't know if anyone has any. Oh yeah, let me open it up. If any artists wanna come on and tell their stories, music related or whatever, I'm gonna kind of open up this podcast for more things than just music eventually, or I don't really mind doing it already, right? If someone has something they want to talk about aside from spiritual stuff, because that's over on my other channel, right? On the In a Good Way podcast. If anybody wants to talk about spiritual things, I'm open for that over there. But here, music or other things, I'm all for it. So on that note, I'll end it there, and thank you all. Peace.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.